everyone, and today's topic on the Inside Scoop with Inside Out Total Wellness is men reaching out for help. Today's conversation will be around the stigma men face regarding their mental health and help-seeking behavior. And before we get started with the conversation, I just want to go over a couple statistics and why I think today's conversation is really important. So men die by suicide in numbers almost 4 times that of women, and this is especially between the ages of 40 to 60 years old. Men are also 2 to 3 times more likely to misuse drugs than women. And lastly, even though depression and suicide are ranked as the leading cause of death among men, they're still far less likely to seek mental health treatment than women. Now, I'm really excited today to introduce our special guest. We have Jack here with us.
Pleasure to be here.
Good. Thank you so much for joining in today. It's really great to have you here, and I feel like this is just a really important topic that we're really lucky to have you being open and sharing with us. So we're gonna get jumping right into the first question, and I just want to, if you're comfortable, just sharing a little bit about any of your struggles that you've had with mental health.
Yeah, so I've been dealing with anxiety and depression since I was about 13 years old, and kind of working through it up till now. And it's kind of always been a battle, but it's part of my life, and it's kind of, you get used to it.
Right. And do you mind saying how old you are now?
I'm 25 now, so
25. Okay.
Been a few years, yeah.
Was that something that you were diagnosed with?
At an early age, yeah, I went to see somebody because I was kind of confused as to what was going on with me. Mm-hmm. And then, we kind of figured out what it was and kind of got down to the point and started working on what we could do to make it better. So.
Right. And you kind of just jumped into the next question of, you said you went and saw somebody.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what, the big part of what the conversation today is around. And you mentioned that you went for therapy, and I'm just wondering what helped you make that decision?
It was kind of, this is what I felt like I had to do to make myself better, and I didn't really care what the repercussions were going to be. I just thought that was kind of the only option, so that's kind of what we went with.
And I mean, at such a young age, 13, to kind of recognize, hey, that I can make myself better, make my life better if I go and see someone. I'm just kind of wondering what got you to that point or that thought process. Did you have supports that pushed you, or was that all on your own?
Mostly it was a decision I made on my own, but I had dealt with friends of mine that had kind of dealt with similar issues and didn't necessarily go that route, and I felt like it was probably the safer route for me. So.
Wow. Yeah. Well, that's really good. Thank you for sharing that. And I'm curious, was there any unhelpful thoughts you may have had regarding using therapy for support? So whether it was before you actually decided to reach out and seek the support, or even maybe during the process, was there any kind of thinking that you had while going?
I mean, personally, I thought I didn't care what anyone thought, but once you get into something like that, you kind of start to realize maybe you do care a little bit more about, what others are thinking about you, or how they're going to portray that side of you. And I just kind of thought this is what I have to do, and whether or not I have bad feelings about it is just something you should do. So
okay. And do you have any specific thoughts that you're comfortable sharing, that you said that people may think this way about you?
Just why would he feel that way? He doesn't have any reason to feel that way, those kind of things. And just pretty much feeling sorry for myself in a way. Yeah.
Right. Is that something that, did people ever say that to you, or is that something you just kind of felt?
I mean, yeah, I have had definitely people say that, but also it's just more so an internal dialogue. So.
Right.
Yeah.
And do you feel like that dialogue has changed at all from now to here?
At this point, I've been going to therapy for almost 12 years, so it's kind of something that I'm more used to, and it's just a part of my life, so it doesn't really matter to me anymore. Wow.
So it sounds I really like how you say it's part of your life. Almost just people going to the gym or eating well. It's just, taking care of your mental health is kind of part of your routine.
Yeah, so about every month I'll see my therapist, and we just kind of, now it's over the phone due to COVID, but right. We talk for about an hour, and it kind of, just levels me out and keeps me even, so.
Was there any point between 13 to now that you stopped going to therapy, or has it been consistent?
There's definitely been when I was younger, I didn't go as much. It was kind of just once every 6 months or a year, whatever kind of felt necessary. And now I've realized that it's better if you just are more consistent with it and stay on top of it, rather than getting to a point where you feel like you need to go.
Right. Yeah, definitely. That makes a lot of sense. And are you able to share a couple of the impacts that you've noticed that going to therapy has done for you?
Definitely built up my self-confidence and like made me aware of what is actually going on inside my head, and like not blaming myself for anything.
Right.
And then just kind of like taking those and going on with life and not worrying so much. So.
Right. That's really great to hear. And like I like how you also said they're not blaming your part, because I think that's something that happens quite frequently, is we take the blame for, any of the struggles that we're going through or the thoughts that we're having. And I think we commonly forget that a mental health is just a chemical condition that we have in our brain, just like having diabetes or any other health condition in your body. But I think that people think it's our fault, we did this to ourselves, and that kind of might bring that stigma around that this is embarrassing or it's shameful, I want to hide this.
Yeah, exactly. And that was like one of the biggest steps, was like hearing like, oh, this is a chemical imbalance, here's what's out. And then, we tried a few different SSRIs. They worked for the first little bit, and I kind of had my own thing with those, but I'm no longer taking them. And like it kind of numbed me out, but I feel a lot more happy just kind of being able to deal with my issues as they come. So.
Right, that's good. It sounds like they give you a lot of good like coping strategies or mechanisms to use.
Yeah, and like I've been to probably like 10 to 15 different therapists over the years, and like finding the right one is like probably the most important part, I would say.
Right. Did it take you 10 to 15 then to really find the right one?
Yeah, like I found I had one good one before, and then she had to retire, and then it was kind of a tough time finding a new one after that, but like the one I have now is great. So
I like how you said that too, because I think people forget that finding a therapist, it's a relationship, right, that you're having with someone else, and that you don't have to just keep seeing someone even if it's not working, right? It's okay to be like, it's just you're not feeling it, or that you're not getting the proper help you need, the connection with that person. So like you said, you tried a bunch of different ones, and it's kind of like going to a different gym or doing different workouts. Sometimes there's certain ones just aren't meant for you, and that's okay. So it's like, don't just stop. I know a lot of people will see a therapist, they said it was a bad experience and they let it taint them, so then they stop going to therapy. But it's like, no, then go try out a different one.
Yeah, and I mean, it is hard to like go to someone and like spill out your like whole heart or whatever, and then have them kind of be like, oh, well, that's not a big deal, or whatever. Like the response is not get the response that you're looking for. So it is important to go like look around and find what's best for you. Did
you have like an idea, going, because you said looking for the response you're looking for, did you have an idea going to therapy what you thought it might be like, and how did actual therapy end up going?
Well, I kind of started slow, so I didn't go that often, and I learned over the years what it was like, and each therapist is different, so it's never going to be the same until you go to the same person often.
Right.
But I've definitely had different experiences with each person. So.
Okay. Yeah. I guess it's good that we have so many different options, so many different therapists that we can reach out to, right?
Yeah.
Lots of resources out there. And I'm just curious too, because you said you were taking medication before. Is there any, kind of strategies or any kind of things that you use? Like, did you do anything with exercise or nutrition or sleep? Did you look at those things in your life as well to help you?
Yeah, so like I was pretty active when all this was kind of first starting. I was playing hockey, so I was quite active in that way. So like that was definitely a factor, and like I felt better when I was doing those things, but it was the downtime where I wasn't really sure what was going on, and that's when like negative thoughts and stuff would creep in. And now I've kind of been able to find a balance of when to do what and like how things affect you, and I've kind of figured it out from there.
So it just sounds like you really like getting that education and tools you needed to figure out,
and a lot of experimentation. Like you just have to try, and if it doesn't work, try something else and keep going until you find a good pattern. So
and that's a really good point. Hopefully a helpful point for people, again, not to just give up or stop trying if something's not working out, because there's always something else that you can try. So
and nobody is the same, so like everybody's going to have a different path. If something works for one person, it's not going to necessarily work for the next. So.
Right. No, that's really good. Thank you for sharing that. And I just want to go a little bit more kind of around the topic of the stigma part. So what are your thoughts around stigma of men reaching out for help or mental illness? Because I know it definitely still is a thing, even though, we do a lot of movements and stuff, and we're trying to create more awareness around men reaching out for help, but I still definitely think there is stigma around it.
Yeah, for sure. Like definitely, like the biggest thing is people thinking that you're weak for going to seek help. And like, I would say that's complete opposite. Like you're definitely like not weak if you go to talk to somebody about the way you're feeling. Like it's
you're
probably,
stronger.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
if anything, it's the best thing you should do, and like it's definitely helpful. So for me, it was anyway. So
yeah. And I'm really curious too, if you're comfortable with answering, you're saying some of your friends also didn't take the route of maybe reaching out for counseling or for help. Do you kind of know why? Was that around the stigma or self-blame or anything like that?
No, I couldn't say why, and like, I mean, that's their own issue, so like I wouldn't necessarily get into it, but yeah, like I'm not sure, like I definitely think a lot of people are scared though to reach out for help, and it's too bad because it definitely could help and even save a life, so.
Yeah.
Well,
that's good. All really good stuff that you're sharing today. I appreciate all of it. And just kind of as we're wrapping things up here, I don't want to keep you all day long. I know you're busy.
Yes.
Is there anything you'd like to say to anyone that may be contemplating, or anyone that's experiencing the mental health challenges or disorder and they're maybe contemplating thinking about reaching out for help or support? Is there anything you'd like to say to them about maybe taking that step to do that?
Yeah, definitely do it, and like
just do it.
Yeah, just like break out of that like shell that you're in, and like go for it. Because I mean, the worst that's gonna happen is you're gonna find out it's not what's right for you, but you might find some benefit in it. So.
Right. And like you've said, it sounds like you've really, really found some benefit from doing it.
Yeah, definitely.
Good. Well, hopefully that helps a lot of you out today. And like Jack said, or Nike says, just do it. Sometimes you just got to take that step. But again, Jack, I really appreciate you coming here and being so open and even vulnerable with us today, because I feel like these are the conversations that are going to create more awareness and making people more comfortable with sharing these things and reaching out for that support.
Yeah.
And really important for people to remember there are, lots of resources out there. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to see a counselor if you're not ready, but what about even just reaching out to a friend or family member?
Yeah, exactly. And like, I mean, that's been a pretty big thing for me, is just like having family that I can talk to and like express the way I'm feeling, and they're pretty open and understanding as well, so that's been a pretty good thing for me. So even if you're not going to a counselor, even a friend, anyone that you can trust, I would say talk to them. So
good. Well, thank you so much again, Jack, and I hope you have a great day.
Thank you.